Oh, snap.
Tiger.
Florida Wildcats.
It's too wild for me, man.
Bro.
Bro.
How you gonna show up with like the sequin shirt though?
Yo, you gotta let them know. Okay? We're Tigers.
Oh my good Sigmund. What who was the dude who did the Tiger shows and not Tiger King?
Is it Sigmund and Freud?
Oh, I thought, but that's like the psychologist, isn't it? Oh, goodness. Siegfried and Roy. Sigmund Freud was a psychologist, like a famous psychologist. Like Freudian slip is named after him. Siegfried and Roy is a very similar sounding tiger-based act. Or at least they're best known for the use of white lions and white tigers.
Check.
Cool.
Ow.
Camera, what are you doing though? You gotta be over
Did you
here.
call me? No one's called me that
Musicians
since
and
kindergarten.
entertainers who perform together as Siegfried
You're making
and
me
Roy.
mad.
It's making me real mad, man.
It's making me real mad. Getting quite upset over you.
The problem is that your camera is focused on your tiger and not on your face.
Grr.
I wish I was joking. But it's like, this is clearly the more important face
This
in this
is it
shot.
right here. This one's shiny.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to get my my other camera up and running, but it's not registering in Discord for some darn. Sure, Discord. Sure.
Oh.
There he goes. There you go. There you go. There you go. Now where you at? Where you at?
He's not even on the call anymore. Somehow that still translates to you and me in real spots and Craig half taking up your spot.
Craig, get out of my spot, man. We gotta talk
Quit
about
blowing
this.
up my spot, Craig.
I ain't all about this.
Siegfried Fischbacher and Roy Horn. And they didn't go with the name Fischbacher and Horn. They went with Siegfried and Roy.
Did Roy Horn ever evolve into Roy Don?
Bruh. Bruh.
That's the first thing I thought of when I heard that name. Roy Horn. Rhyhorn? What?
Oh, no.
Welcome to A4NB4Y, the Zelda themed codcast. Yeah, we're all about fishing now, actually. We're going out on the boat. Okay. Welcome to A4NB4Y, the Zelda themed podcast that's currently deep diving into Breath of the Wild towards the end of the game. The last episode I was absent from, and we ended up talking, well, they ended up talking about Urbosa and Rivali's part of the Champion's Ballad DLC, as well as the majority of Cass's quest leading up to the end, which we might be touching on today. My name is Cameron Hagee. I'm wearing a Luffy One Piece second gear shirt, and these are my co-hosts.
I'm Ryan Fonzie, and I'm an espresso percolator.
Drink to that.
Sure.
Okay.
And I'm Anthony, and I'm sparkly.
That's true.
There we go.
Vum, 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 vum,
Anthony,
vum,
the
vum.
aggressive Care Bear. He gonna get you.
My tiger PTSD.
Oh, no.
Yeah, put a warning sign if anyone's scared of tigers before the episode starts.
Trigger warning after the fact.
Oopsies.
Whoops. Oh, yeah. All right. So, as we were saying, we have a lot to cover today, guys. We got like a million things. So we can jump right into it. I don't think we need any further ado here. We are in the middle of the DLC, and our next champion that we're going to be going to visit is our man Daruk. I want to start with Daruk. We have to cover Daruk and Mipha tonight, but Daruk is I got some problems with Daruk. And like, not that I'm annoyed with him, but I just think that the game could have done more with him. So I kind of want to get through his section so we can get onto the meatier stuff, if that makes sense. But yeah, just like the previous trials, I mean, we can go through the overview real quick for each one of these champions during the Champions Ballad DLC. We are tasked to visit a obelisk of sorts that has 3 locations marked out for us to go do a challenge that is meant to mirror a challenge that the champion had to overcome during their time. Once we complete each one of those, we're given a shrine per location, per challenge. And once we do 3 of those, we are able to go back to the Divine Beast to take on the memory of their battle against whatever blight they were faced against back in the past.
It's not just a memory, though. The truth is deeper than we ever knew.
Yeah. Don't just you know.
You can't just ragdoll in there, man. This is serious business.
No, there's something like, don't just dismiss it, man. As like some.
This isn't just in your head. You're not just reliving a past memory. This is the truth goes deeper than you know.
This isn't just theater of the mind, man. You're really living it.
You could get ouchied in there big time.
you could get ouchied. The stakes are real high. So we go to the obelisk for Daruk. I don't even know where it is. I'm not going to try to tell you where it is.
It's somewhere on the volcano.
We meet Cass there, and he sings a song about these trials. The trials are as follows. 1, defeat a giant Igneo-Talus. It's massive. Makes the regular taluses look like baby taluses. It's very big.
It's out in the lava.
So you're going to want to bring a glider. So,
like you do everywhere.
Second challenge is what I call the Death Mountain Descent. This is another like chase the rings, go through the rings. It's a time trial. You just got to race through a series of rings that start at the top of Death Mountain and you glide your way down. You're going to want to bring a glider for that. Last one is a lava trial. There's just a ring out in some lava. You got to find a way to stand there and survive. There's a couple different ways to do this. One of which you could throw a block out there, and if that's the case, you're going to want to bring a glider. So, yeah. 3 trials, 3 amazing death-defying stunts. Did you guys have any particular fun and or qualms with these as you were doing them? Did you do them? That should probably be my first question.
Well, you see, the person on YouTube I watch do them for me because I like to vicariously play this through other people. He almost took a dip of death into the lava underneath the ring descent of doom.
Oh, okay.
But he didn't. He pulled out at the last second and managed to like clip the top of the ring with Link's head and save it. And I was like, whew, man, that was close.
Wow.
Dang.
I was on the edge of my seat.
It's incredible.
Exhilarating.
Anthony,
What's up?
What you got?
Well, I personally feel like these challenges, at this point, I'm like, Igneo-Talus, really? Like, this is Master Quest, man. Like,
Yeah.
I have 500,000 bomb arrows. You're going to have to throw something like, I don't know, maybe throw in like Demise or Girahim because I'm gonna need a challenge because Enignio Talus is just not doing it for me at this point.
You can't even use bomb arrows though, my
What in
guy.
the
They
world?
explode in your face when you shoot them on the volcano. You would just be doing the lava's job for it.
I have like 500,000 ice arrows.
All right, ice arrows will work.
Anthony's just over here like, I was really hoping for like a Zant or a Vati, but all I got was fighting the mountain itself, man. I don't know.
The heart of the mountain.
No,
he wasn't even that good.
The Talus was too big for his own good because he couldn't move very fast. I mean, he basically was a living platform. So once you were up above him, what was he gonna do? You just landed on him, you freeze him, cool him down a little bit, just do a spin to win. It's what he was quick. He didn't really have that much more health than a regular Talus,
And Talus is one of the easiest enemies in Master Mode as well to keep hitting and keep knocking the health down because he doesn't move. It's not like a Lionel where it's constantly moving and you got to worry about getting in there to get the health down and make sure he doesn't start regen. So
I hear that.
Yeah, it was just super easy. Barely
an inconvenience, one might say.
Yeah. I think the lava pools, honestly, of these three is probably the hardest. And even that is not that hard. Because
100%.
People don't realize.
And also, to your point, Cameron, yes, bomb arrows do explode on contact, and yes, I did forget that fact while I was right next to the Igneo Talus. So
oof.
I did hit him. I did damage, but I also did damage to myself.
Yeah. If you so much as pull out a bomb arrow, it just goes off, man.
My vicarious YouTube player also did such things.
I completely forgot. I was like, this will work.
It's hard when you already have bomb arrows selected. And you go into like bullet time or just try to pull out an arrow to see which one you have out, and it just blows up, and you're like, "What happened?" It's like, "Oh, I was set to bomb. Whoops." It's bad. Definitely lost some lives that way. But yeah, once we do all of this, we can get to fire. Well, before we get to Fireblight, hold on. There's actually some shrines as well. After we defeat the giant Talos, we get into a shrine that allows us to relive our glory days in the Great Lizalfos War, where we get to basically use a cannon to blow through some paths, and it's actually paired with motion controls this time. So we get to move a block to find the holes to shoot targets through.
See, I wouldn't have been able to do that anyways because those shrine. You have to interact with them motion control things. They don't work on the Steam Deck. Ooh. I can aim with motion controls with my arrows.
Hacking a Steam Deck for this.
Yeah, I'm running it on the Wii U emulator on my Steam Deck, and while, like I said, I can actually even move the whole camera behind Link with motion controls, so it technically has more usability for the motion controls than even the Switch version does. It does not work with interacting with actual things that require, like any shrine that you go up to and you click on a pedestal and you move something around with it, completely unresponsive.
Gotcha.
And unlike the other ones where I would do some kind of convoluted bomb blast to get all the way over to the ending and skip the entire puzzle, like how speedrunners do it, where they set up two bombs, jump off, blow one bomb into the other, into Link, and then give themselves a massive boost and pull out the glider to get somewhere you're not supposed to be able to get to. I wouldn't have been able to do that in this one, so I would have just kind of probably gotten soft locked.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, you can always just like leave the shrines or whatever, but yeah, you wouldn't be able to complete the DLC that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next one, if the Death Mountain Descent bit, there's this really cool shrine where you ride a block through like fire jets.
Oh yeah, I call this one "My Box Is My Home."
There you go. I had a lot of fun with that shrine. I think that it's just really cool to just narrowly avoid fire jets and climb the block at the right time and just jump around on the walls. Like,
you remember how I was saying last episode how like probably like what is it 9 shrines? No, I'm sorry, 6 shrines. So I think it was like 4 or 5 of them. Probably like 4. I was like, these are boring, and they feel like they were just kind of regurgitated from shrines in the main game, but this actually felt fun.
Yeah, the conveyor. Like I felt like I was in like the Star Wars Geonosis factory from episode 2. Like it's kind of the feeling that I got. Like I was just like narrowly dodging random saw blades, even though that wasn't really the challenge, but that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And then from the lava pool one, there's one that I have here just says blocks and flames. I think the shrine was literally called Block the Flames. It's just a lot of magnet blocks and
you got to the first chunk you go in there, you got to blow up some rock at the bottom to knock the flames down, and then the second one you pull out the metal box that knocks those flames down. You got to use that box to shield yourself.
You just collect the blocks and keep it moving. So
cool visuals. I don't remember any other shrines having like a lava floor pit.
Serviceable. I mean, there definitely were other ones with lava pits, but it was more like if you fall, you die kind of lava pit, not we want you to traverse this lava pit.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. It serviceable is what I would call this one. It wasn't super unique or original or like special. It just did what it was supposed to do, be a shrine.
All of them were relatively easy though.
Yeah.
Nothing too challenging.
So now that we got the 3 emblems, we can go to Fireblight Plus, who is a chump, total chump. Fireblight Plus,
was an original chump.
He went down just about as fast as he did the first time. Like there wasn't really anything super difficult. I mean, I don't know if it's just the right set of tools that they gave me to do the job, but I mean, especially after we got that
Urbosa's Fury.
Yeah, Urbosa's Fury Plus, like he was just weak sauce.
Yep.
Urbosa's Fury Boulder Breaker just crushes him.
Yeah, knock him down and just spin to win, man. It was silly. But I mean, I guess this whole part is kind of silly. I mean, like I was saying at the beginning, the top of the episode, I want to kind of jump through this because like Daruk's story is not very in depth. Like, and I think there's some reason for that. Like you got to have comedic relief kind of deal, but in this case it's just like it almost feels like the Gorons didn't take anything super seriously. Like after we beat Fireblight Plus, we get Daruk's song, right? And all the songs are based around when Zelda goes to recruit them to be the pilots of the divine beasts. So this one starts off and Daruk immediately is like, yeah, absolutely, I'll pilot this beast. Oh, by the way, I really think that if you're wandering around Hyrule, like, there's been reports of monster attacks. I really think you guys should have like a Goron guard. Like, keep the princess safe.
Goron squad.
Zelda makes some kind of mention about how like that sounds just like her dad and she wants this Hylian champion to basically go with her everywhere. And he's like, oh, that's got to be that one guy, which is,
She's like, the best swordsman in the land. He's like, I know him.
I know him.
That's my brother.
So then they come across somebody getting attacked by a horde of bokoblins while they're having this conversation. And Daruk goes beast mode. Just wrecks the bokoblins. They're flying through the air. They're screaming. They're running away. He calls them a bunch of brainless cuckoos.
Yeah,
he pronounces it cuckoos.
Yeah,
and
official translation.
Yeah,
or pronunciation. Apparently, it's always supposed to have been cuckoos.
It's always supposed to have been cuckoos.
I don't know. That's what you have to assume when they finally put voice acting in a show and pronounce something some way.
I know. I just don't know if I can commit to it. I've always called them cuckoos.
Oh, I definitely am not committing to it.
It's either one of two things. It's either it used to be pronounced cuckoo, and then they were like, cuckoo. Yeah, we don't want to say that word has been in recent light.
Next.
Or it's just always been cuckoos.
I'd say we'd have to go back to probably the original Japanese voice acting of it and see how they pronounce the word, unless it's a totally different word, in which case we'd have to look at like the majority of the translations in different languages and kind of find out which one is more likely to have been the legitimate use.
Yeah, I'm
still
going to
go
through all that work.
I wonder how the actual bird is pronounced.
Kachoo.
Well, wouldn't it be like cuckoo clock, right? Like, I don't know. It's not really spelled like that, though. I always thought that's where they got the name, and then they just kind of altered it a bit, and that's how they got cuckoo. But instead of cuckoo. But that's just how I always, since I was a kid, like that's how
it does make sense that it's cuckoo because it ends in a single O instead of two, versus it'd be like
it's true.
Yeah,
cuckoo. I mean, with the O at the end being a vowel at the end would also make the U the long version.
But like the whole internet pronounces it as like So I don't know.
I don't know, man. English is silly. I don't think I'm gonna remember enough to say that right at all ever in the future. And that is that's probably the most substantial thing that actually happens in this cutscene, is that pronunciation of cuckoo. And then it turns out that after defeating the bokoblins, what they were attacking was actually a dog.
Doggo.
A dog that's just chilling on Death Mountain, because why wouldn't a dog be chilling on Death Mountain?
Not bursting into flames.
Yeah, definitely had a fireproof elixir on the way up.
Just flame breaker dog.
Flame breaker dog.
Oh, jeez. Then we find out that big boy Daruk has canine phobia.
Yeah. Yeah, he gets so scared, the dog barks and he goes into Daruk's protection. And he
basically fetal positions.
It is humorous, and then he has to make some kind of disclaimer to the princess. He's like, so this Ganon's not some kind of dog monster, is he?
And then they have a lighthearted laugh.
Yep. And then
he's actually kind of close, though. He's a pig. He represents a mammal that is on four legs, so I mean...
Yeah, I think Hey Arnold's dog was a pig, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure he just had a pig that ran around with all the dogs in the neighborhood.
That does sound vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only one key thing about Hey Arnold I even remember anymore, but it's not fit for this.
Okay. Well, moving on. So I took a moment. I went over and read Daruk's journal. He calls it his training journal. At first he calls it a diary, and he's like, oh, maybe I should call this thing a training journal because, it sounds more manly, and, all the Gorons have to be super masculine, hyper tough. So 8 pages. They all have 8 pages in all of their journals. Every champion has a journal. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what these pages are about. And you might catch a pattern for Daruk here. First page, he's unsure about what to write. Realizes he could probably write down what he ate today. He ate some rock roast.
Yep, figured it'd be rocks.
Rock roast, yep. And then the second one, he's talking about how everyone just wants to talk about Ganon and this divine beast that they dug up a few years ago. And someone's got to pilot that thing, but I'm not really interested in all that. But what he is interested in is having some rock roast tonight. Maybe he'll have some. Page 3. This is the meeting. This is the time where Daruk met Link. He writes a little thing about some small guy was getting attacked by a bunch of monsters. I went down to try to save him. Turns out they got the jump on me, and this little dude saved me. Like he kind of took care of himself before I even got to him. So he was surprised about that. Thought that, it might be embarrassing. Surprisingly, nothing about rocks on this page.
Oh, man.
Page 4. He gives Link some rocks. And Link eats them, according to what I'm reading. He liked them so much he was speechless.
So I think on that past page, you could metaphorically say he thought Link rocked.
Okay.
Defeated sad.
So he also makes a comment about how Link feels that when he concentrates, it almost feels like time is slowing down, which is a pretty solid hint that Link's champion ability is actually his his fury attack and or his bullet time mode. That's actually Link's power, is being able to slow time.
Family's secret technique.
Oh no, we'll get to that. We'll get to his family's secret technique. That's coming this episode. That's a different journal. Anyway. So, and then he also pretty much says that I like Link. He's definitely a certified brother. So, my note for 4 overall was Link eats rocks, slows time, is a bro.
Is a bro.
He's a bro rock. Brock.
Okay. So page 5.
He's the first gym leader in Canton.
Daruk agrees to pilot Rudania. He also tried to give Zelda a rock roast, but she gave a grimace look. He figured it had to do something with something else. She must have had something else on her mind.
He must have undercooked the rock.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. Something went wrong.
It's a little raw.
Number 6. Daruk remembers the inauguration. And I guess while he was there, he heard a story about Link deflecting a Guardian laser with a pot lid. So that was pretty cool. Pretty cool story that he heard and wrote down. Number 7, well, he talks about how like Link was assigned as the guard, and he's like, he's a perfect guy for the job, because he's a bro. So, okay, number 7. Daruk was having trouble piloting the beast, and he was the only one of the 4 who had trouble piloting their divine beast. So Link he asked Link for help. Link just kicked him into the divine beast and said, figure it out, locked him in there for like a day, and by the end of the day he could pilot it. So Link did some sink or swim training with Daruk.
That was my favorite page. Daruk's like, little guy just knew I needed some time in there. He's so smart.
Yeah, he's like, he has some comment about how Link must have gotten to where he is through hard training or something like that. Some kind of respect, but it's like so random compared to what he did, but it's pretty good.
All right, so what I want to know is...
and as a reward, he wants to give Link some gourmet sirloin rock. So, just
I'm jealous.
Even more so, I want to know, what is the power level of Link's digestive system?
My dude eats everything, man.
I don't think there's a number that can encapsulate it. None exist.
I mean, he'll eat like Guardian screws and stuff, man. If you cook that into a dish,
right?
He'll he might lose some health, but he'll do it.
He's like that guy that over the course of the year created a whole airplane. Even ate the light bulbs inside of it and the glass that they're made out of.
Hey, no thanks. All right. So then the last page here, he just kind of talks about how Link and Zelda have been opening up to each other. He thinks that they're opening up to each other over food because, of course, he does. And then he says that what he's learned about himself is that writing makes him hungry. So he just, some of the stuff that we covered before about, like in episode 50 about Link and Zelda actually growing in their relationship, it's just a little note that he's a witness to it, and that's legitimately all there is. So half the time,
being a witness to things probably makes him hungry.
Right. Half the time he was just writing about food or explaining something obvious that happened. So he doesn't actually really have any depth as a character himself, it seems.
I mean, I want to say that's on purpose, though. He's a Goron, which are known to be brute force and extremely mentally simplistic.
Sure. I mean, I have a feeling like when Nintendo got this whole like story written out, they were like, who are the Gorons gonna be? It's like, who have the Gorons always been? They've been in every single game pretty much. They're just like super reliable. They're there. We're not gonna mess with them too much. We're not gonna give them a ton of like deep story. They are rocks. They are the foundation of this country. I don't know.
But they can't eat boulders in front of Dodongo's cavern.
Yes,
that's for sure.
They love to eat rocks. They love to have bosses that absorb bombs so that you can throw bombs at them and they'll just suck them right up. And they love to have problems with giant lizards. I don't know. Like they're very patterned.
Stereotypical Gorons.
So, well, they're the most unchanging group as well. Like they really don't. They
rocks
haven't evolved
sturdy,
from or to.
I was going to say kind of like rocks,
Yeah, they're unchanging, and you can peel a rock's layer back, but under that rock's layer is just another layer of rock.
They're like an onion or an ogre.
They're the constant in the equation that is the Legend of Zelda. How do you know it's a Zelda game? It has a Goron.
Nothing to do with Link. Nothing to do with
Goron's
Zelda.
always
Nothing
been
to
the
do with the
same.
Master Sword. It's the Gorons. They're the rock foundation of the series.
The Legend of Goron.
Now that would be a game.
What could go wrong?
Imagine a racing game where you play as like Gorons and you have to like Goron champions throughout the series and just race.
Now we're on to something. Goron Super Circuit.
Spin-off game. Rainbow Rock Road.
If only the DS was still going strong, I could see that being a game.
Rockbow Road. All right.
At the end, you get your own sirloin.
That's always the prize, either gold dust or rock sirloin. And the Gorons are always more excited about rock sirloin than they are about gold dust.
Yep.
A year's supply of rock sirloin.
That gold dust could probably buy a lot of rock sirloins. They don't care.
There you go. All right, so we can go ahead and move on to Mipha's story, which has all the depth. Because it's, watery. Anyway, so...
Unrequited love.
Yeah, there's a lot here. Actually, we don't know how unrequited it is. It's a little bit open-ended here, which is cool. I like that. I like that about a story, having it be open-ended. But still have some depth and some meaning and some character development. But yeah, so we learn a lot about Mipha here. But we go to the Mipha's obelisk to start her quest, where Cass is going to talk to us about her and eventually give us the song. And we learn about 3 challenges. Once again, the first one being to fly into the sunrise. And in this shrine, I'll just go shrines by the challenge this time. You melt a bunch of ice. It's just a room with a bunch of blocks of ice, and you got to find your way up to a second floor and across the way using ice. It took forever because melting ice with the methods I use just take very long because I don't know. I don't like to waste resources on stuff like this.
Flame blade.
Yeah, just stand there with something hot and let it just time pass until you have a platform. Takes sweet forever. You could just shoot it with a fire arrow; it'd be a lot faster, but not really my style for stuff like this. I don't want to waste fire arrows on ice blocks. I don't know why. It's just
you don't have a million amiibo cards, so.
Well, I do, but I don't use them. Yeah. The next one is defeat flying guardians. Now, of all of the champion bosses, the things that the champions have made us fight, Mipha had a tough challenge here, apparently, in the past. She went off and just fought a bunch of flying guardians. I don't know why.
How?
But that's the challenge. And once you get in, it's like a I mean, this is almost like copy paste of another shrine in the game, except a little more complicated. Like it's like the big waterfall with a bunch of like ramps and stuff.
Despise this one.
I think I cheated on this one, to be completely honest. I'm pretty sure I did something like I don't know, like get the ball stuck somewhere and then cryonis it and fling it across the room, that kind of thing. Like I don't know that I actually solved the puzzle that they were presenting me with, but it worked out. I ended up getting it. But yeah, nice. big waterfall, bunch of spinny platforms and gaps and stuff. I couldn't for the life of me describe to you how to beat it from memory.
It was a Vicarious guy that I watched. I was the Vicarious guy watching him. He put an icicle in a certain spot. It hit the corner of it and launched it almost directly sideways, and that was how he got as much distance as he needed to get it to go where it needed to go. It was very precise. I think he had to put down like 6 of them in order to actually get it to stick, like to be.
And it went to the hole.
Angle. No, it didn't go straight to the hole. It went over and then it went down into this thing, and then it shot up. And the thing had like one of the pinball kind of boingy thingies, and it shot it up, and then it went to the hole.
Oh, okay.
So it was all about the main area that it falls through. You just have to knock it like considerably over to the right, and then it would fall into what it ultimately just landed in the right spot.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think I got the ball stuck and then just did a cryonis bounce or something. I really don't remember how I did it, but yeah, Yeah, going on just straight on what it is not fun. So the last one is you have to, again, time trial through some rings, except you got to swim up some waterfalls. So if you don't have the Zora set that lets you do that, which I think is a story quest thing, I think you just need the shirt, right?
Yeah, you have to get the shirt.
So you have to get the shirt. You just use your Zora shirt, fly
It's
up this
basically
waterfall.
free.
Yeah. Super easy one to do because the waterfalls are like self-centering once you're on them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a ton of challenge to this one.
And your stamina comes back while you're going up waterfalls.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, totally.
You're being lifted on love's wings, you know? So, so you get up and you get into a shrine that has the secret stairway. Now, when we talked about Urbosa, I kept mentioning the secret stairway because I got confused because there's actually two different stairway-esque shrine challenges. One of them is the zappy one that's Urbosa's, and I don't even know what the name of that shrine is, but it's not Secret Stairway.
I don't know.
But it is a stairway. And then there's this one that's actually called Secret Stairway, and it's like a Cryonis waterfall metal blocks on rails challenge. I watched a video to refresh myself on it because I played this like weeks ago. And the guy that I watched do it just did a Cryonis on the metal block, climbed onto it, flew up in the air, and then just beat the whole shrine just from that one jump. So he didn't actually make a staircase. He just launched himself.
Interesting.
And I felt so dumb when I saw that. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, why did I even do this though?
I didn't know you could do that. I thought the only way to beat it was to drag the blocks up with magnesis all the way to the top, switch to cryo like super quick and freeze them, and then put a block under them.
Yeah, he lifted it up and put a block under it so that he could get the right angle on the Cryonis. And then he charged it up and then shot it to go up, and then he jumped up and climbed onto it so that it then launched him up. Very, very smooth, very smart, not hard to do from what I saw. And I was like, I would have never thought to think that. I would have never thought to think that, man.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. So then we can go to Water Blight Plus.
Ooh.
Which is also not that bad when you have Urbosa's Fury Plus.
Yeah.
And Mipha comes stacked with 3 tridents.
Yeah. The first time I ever did this, I didn't do the Thunder Plus, and also I didn't realize that was the best strategy. Because I've done this DLC, this part of the DLC anyway, I've done twice. Once in my first playthrough that I still haven't finished, and then once in my podcast playthrough that I have finished at this point. And so this one, the first time I did it, I had no clue what I was doing, wasted all my weapons, had to do like the bomb throws from across the room kind of thing, where I'd put up a Cryonis, throw a bomb to land on the Cryonis so that it would roll further. And then I would blow it up on the guy. And I just chipped him away, bomb by bomb. And it took sweet forever. But I did get through it. And it was a bad strategy. And now that I know, that was so bad. Because if you just Urbosa's Fury the guy, he falls from the ceiling and you can just hit him a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to throw your spears at him and waste your spears.
Oh.
I did bad the first time. Did much better this time. This time,
Just gotta learn to fight with limited equipment.
Yeah, I mean, before Urbosa's Fury didn't even occur to me. I don't know why. Just didn't think to do it. I mean, to be fair, Urbosa's Fury was always the last one I would get, so I'd never like used it against a boss before. And it was like it was literally the first DLC boss that I did, and I totally forgot that I even had that, and that it would be effective.
Yeah, it definitely comes in.
It's effective against everything.
It's effective against everything. Even lightning-based enemies, they're not immune.
Nope.
I'm like questioning how Mipha failed here, because
she didn't have
Water
Urbosa's
Blight
Fury.
Even beside that point, I mean, like Water Blade Ganon floats above the water and has a spear and whoop-de-doo. Mipha can swim very fast. If she swims as fast as Sidon, I don't know, but I'm assuming she can because, same family training and such.
There's a memory that would speak to how fast she can swim.
So, like, how did she fail? I mean, she's able to go underwater and jump up and just strike the guy, and then
maybe she
get
lost
his eye.
in the first phase
for all the projectiles.
Right. I mean, like, use your brain, Mipha.
First phase, there's only like ankle deep water, so maybe she lost in the first phase.
Maybe.
Just couldn't even get to the second phase.
She just gotta swim. It's like it's 3 inches of water. I don't care. Swim.
She starts flopping around on the ground. Oh no, it's over.
Mipha, you splash.
Oh no,
it wasn't very effective, y'all.
She's not even level 20. She needs to evolve.
My goodness.
I'm just trying to think of what the Gyarados Mipha would be.
Don't.
Okay.
Google probably has that.
It would be like the Manticore, but instead it would just be the Gyarados with a Mipha.
Did you just say Google probably has that?
Yep.
Oh no. Anthony's on the search. All right, we're just gonna wait and see if something pops into our chat
for the Mipha news.
Anyway, so yeah, we beat Water Blight Ganon. Anthony found something that he seems disturbed by.
Yep.
All right. Well, if it's private chat, we'll go ahead and throw that up. Otherwise, let's move on. Because we get Mipha's song, which is a memory about Mipha and getting invited to be a pilot of the Divine Beast. She, Zelda comes up to Mipha, basically is counting off the other people on the team. Daruk is listed as Goron Vigilance, and Revali is Rito Confidence, and Urbosa is Gerudo Spirit. Cam's cutting off Revali on the Rito Confidence. It's more like Rito Arrogance, right? Like it's a little too far.
No, it was the picture I was looking at.
Oh. Is it?
It's ridiculous.
It's basically just shiny Mipha.
That's all right. Okay. That's enough of that.
Speaking of Revali, though, now that we've almost covered, I guess, all of the champions and their stories in the DLC extended director's cut.
Okay.
Revali has officially, and I know I'm going to get some hate for this, from both of you.
Don't do this. Don't do this to yourself.
Revali, for me personally, has become my personal favorite character of the champions. And what I have to say about this is the reason he is my personal favorite character is because he has so much depth. Of all the champions, aside from like the love story with Mipha and then Urbosa's motherliness, he has the most depth of a character, the most reflections, the most like outward appearance versus inner shallowness versus outward.
Okay. You got Cam writing things. Look what you did. You're breaking your mother's heart.
Cameron's writing stuff. All right, look. You need to watch some videos on Revali.
I have. I've watched them.
The man...
No.
It's just this whole story of like, I actually, like, yeah, he's a jerk outwardly to Link. But the thing about that is I can't remember everything from the video, honestly.
Look, his ego's on narcissism level. That's all I need to not like him as a character that much.
Listen,
get him out of here.
We've talked about Revali. We've talked about his few redeeming qualities.
But like within that was in the episode where we were covering his story, and if you actually look into it more, the man is conflicted and he's just trying to get acceptance from Link, and Link's kind of brushing him off, and it's just fueling the
Link can't
situation
talk.
more. He can talk.
He brushes everybody off.
I don't know that he is just trying to get acceptance, though. My dude
Well,
wants to be the champion, and he
Well, if
just
you look at
can't
the-
get over it. He lacks humility on so many levels.
But if you look at the part where he actually accepted Link, and then he had that whole bit where he flew off to the Divine Beast and was just kind of looking for Link's validation of his secret technique that he came up with. That part right there shows he's just trying to get acceptance. He's just trying to see, Link, I recognize you as being who you are. Do you at least recognize my validity? We've both come from the same part of working our butts off to get to where we are. And Link just kind of doesn't say anything, which makes Rivali mad and fly off. And that's the last time they talk.
But that's not what he says.
But Link had to put him in his place multiple times before it got to that. Before that, it was, I'm so much better than you. You can't even fly. You can't even get to the sky. You can't
I'm
even
not
shoot your bow as fast
he's
as
not a jerk. I'm just saying he's my favorite character.
He's
Depth-wise.
so pompous.
At no point does he ever say to Link, hey, I put a lot of work into this, and it was really hard for me to do, and it would mean a lot to me if you thought it was cool. That's never what the conversation never sounds like he wants acceptance. It's just abrasive and rude.
I would go back and watch the videos.
I have seen the videos. The arguments are understandable. It's just you have to read so far just to find where this guy came from and why you would want to think.
And that's why I like him so much. Because
he masks his actual hard work and his good qualities with his total tool bagginess. The guy.
He is hilariously awesome. As a character in Zelda. Think of this from a perspective of Zelda. When do they make a character this abrasive, this this much depth? You have to dig so deep just to see where he's coming from versus his the first time you play through the game and you just brush him into it as a character, he comes off as a complete pompous jerk. But then you actually look into it. And
you know what else you got to dig deep to find? The good rocks.
The good rocks.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
So he's become my character.
I don't even know why we're talking about Rivali.
Oh no, I was just saying because we reviewed all the characters.
Yeah. I don't. They could have done more with Rivali's redemption arc. If you're gonna have Rivali be a good character, they could have changed him so much more than they did. By the end, all we got was I guess I'll have to admit he actually did something that I couldn't. And it's
also, to be fair, I did watch the Age of Calamity stuff. They do explore him a little bit more so that you can kind of see even more of who he is versus who he shows as Link.
But that's not even canon though.
It's canon.
Age of Calamity?
Yeah.
No, is his dad even hug him though?
Yeah, it's a good story. I don't know. They didn't have him in there.
It might be a good story, but they definitely went out of their way to say this is alternate universe level type stuff.
Yeah, it's an alternate dimension, basically. Time travel. Kind of like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so can we get back to Mipha's song? Now that we're done talking about Rivali. All right. Rivali, which is literally just rival misspelled. Anyway, so Mipha. Yeah, so Zelda goes through this whole list of the champions, including Rito Confidence that we just got done talking about. And then mentions that we also have the Hylian with the sword that seals the darkness, Link. And you can tell that Mipha's got some extra thoughts about that one.
You can also tell that Zelda kind of crosses her arms over her chest when she talks about him, and then that seems particularly to be what Mipha is responding to.
Yeah, because she straight up dismisses this conversation for a minute right after she gets done saying this, and she goes back to her training side on. She's like, you know, like clearly, I mean, she's in it. Like we know that she's gonna say yes and she's gonna agree and all that. And there's actually more reason to that than just like this conversation. We'll get to that when we get to the diary. But she's training baby Sidon to swim up waterfalls.
He's so cute.
Oh yeah, his head is too big for his little body.
And his big smile with his ting. Oh my goodness.
He's got the big eyes because he's a chibi, basically in this whole scene.
He doesn't talk.
But she tells him to swim up, and Zelda kind of suggests like, hey, maybe he's too little for this. And she's like, listen, like one day I might not be here for him. He's got to learn, you know. That's not exactly what she says, but that's the essence of it. Yeah. So she goes surfing down this waterfall in the most epic of fashions. Goes down to meet baby Sidon, says, hey, how about you come with me so you can get a feel for it? And then does like a shoot back up the waterfall. Pretty cool. Pretty helpful for baby Sidon. Mm-hmm. And she basically tells him like, hey, you know, I'm counting on you to protect our people if fate should ever separate us. Basically just trying to emphasize the importance, like you need to be capable, in case, you know, I'm not always going to be here to help you out with this stuff.
Then he gives a big smile.
Big smile. That same big smile that we get years later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ting-a-ling. He uses that trident, you know, or orbits, right? He's got that.
Oh, jeez.
but how does your mouth feel? Ding. Right.
They paid him in gum.
My goodness. We're mixing our gum.
Yeah, I think that was Trident.
Trident layers. All right. So on to Mipha's diary. Very cool stuff. Sorry if I'm like just ranting this stuff off. We still have so much more to do, and we're about an hour in right now. So just trying to keep things moving. So the diary, once again, 8 pages, but this one we can spend a little bit more time on, I think, because it's like one of the more interesting stories in my book. Well, in her book, I guess, but yeah, because she's a Zora, she actually has like a wider span of years as well in her diary for her 8 pages. The first of which is when a group of Hylians came to visit the Zora's domain. One of which was Link at age 4.
Wow,
he's this many, and he was already known to be able to take on full adults in sparring. Like his swordsmanship was legendary.
Get out of here!
It's a 4-year-old toddler just whooping on the royal guard. It's a funny image, but it's like straight out of like I don't know, like Meet the Spartans or something. Like there's no reason for this to be a thing.
Diaper change break.
It's like a spoof of reality. There's just no way.
No.
But I mean, hey, if the game wants to tell this story, why not? But during their stay, Mipha was not only impressed by this, but also healed some bruises that he had from these sparring bouts, I take it. And he had never seen healing magic before, and she describes how cute he was when his eyes like went big from seeing the healing magic and being healed. Interesting story. Second page, they talk about bringing out Divine Beast Va Ruta. She talks about how like, somebody has to pilot this thing. She's like, I wonder who they'll pick. It's kind of crazy to imagine somebody in the distant past piloting this. Like, I wonder who's next. Like, it's very much like innocent. Like, she doesn't have any clue that she could be the one that would be asked to pilot it next, which is,
even though she's part of the royal family
and has healing magic. Yeah. Like all the reasons why she would actually be the only candidate. But whatever. Page 4. Page 3. Link comes back. Like she basically says like I don't know if it's another group with Zelda or what, but Link is a part of this group once again. But he's quiet. He doesn't talk much anymore. And he's always like, she says like, I don't know if it's his height, but it always seems like he's looking past me into the distance. And he doesn't talk as much as she says that she asked him if something was wrong and he said no, but basically he's on a mission now. Like he knows the calamity's on its way, and like he's very much dutiful. Probably going through that whole like training to be the best he can be or whatever, like probably before him and Zelda were getting along, that kind of thing. Like just very much dedicated, let me train in the rain kind of Link. So then on the 4th page, she agrees to pilot Ruta. And she gives the reasons why. She says that A, she'll be able to defend her people. Like she'll be able to do something that's right for the Zora. And B, she knows that Link is going to be on the team and he's going to be the one fighting Ganon. And it's another way for her to support Link. So for first mention, it's the best thing I can do for my people. Second mention, I get to help Link. So he is consistently on her mind here. So then number 5, Link and Mipha have this little thing where Mipha tells them about the Lionel up on Ploymus Mountain, which is the same one that we can fight in modern day, right? When you go to get the Thunder Arrows. I don't know if it's the exact same Lionel, but it's the same place. So Link immediately is like, I'm on it. Let's go do this. And she's like, I want to come with you. He says, don't do that. She does anyway. Like while they're arguing about it, the Lionel comes out of nowhere and attacks the two of them. And she says that she was worried, but she shouldn't have been because Link just riggedy wrecked this guy. It was the most graceful moves ever. She could tell how much he cared about defending the people and like doing what was best for, for Hyrule or whatever. Like basically she's in awe, not only because of his skill, but because of his motivations. Like she can see that he cares deeply about other people. And also takes note of his spin attack.
She can read his heart through his sword skills.
The special move that he did is called a spin attack, and he's going to try it with her spear. So in case
she wants to emulate it.
In case we gonna tie up some metaphors and some references here, Mipha gonna try out that family technique. Cause she won't be part of that family.
Oh no.
So anyways,
Mipha Diesel.
Family.
That's where it's at. Page 6. That was page 5. This is a long diary, y'all. So Mipha goes and talks to her dad about piloting the Divine Beast. He gives her his blessing, but like almost everybody else on the court is like, nah. Like they're all emotional, they're crying, they're leaving the room. Mizu and whoever else, they're all like, this is the worst, we're gonna lose Mipha. They're so sad and angry, And then a side note, after this whole thing goes down, she notes that her armor that she's making for Link is almost ready. That she thinks she'll, she has all the materials that she needs to start making it. So I shouldn't say the armor's ready, the materials are ready. Page 7. Mipha, this is talking about the inauguration, which we're gonna actually see a memory of. So I might as well like share some details about this now. But she keeps thinking about the basically about the photo shoot that happened during that memory. Or during the inauguration, I should say, because it doesn't outright say this, but she's basically like can't stop thinking about how grateful she is that Zelda kind of agreed to her request, and then is grateful that Daruk brought them closer together, like her and Link. And this is all very cryptic until you see the memory, and then you realize what all that means. And I think maybe we do just save that until we see the memory. But it is kind of funny once you realize what she's talking about. And then there's a side note that she also heard that Link is going to be appointed as the main knight to protect Zelda, and that they're going to be spending a lot of time together.
Oh.
So she's definitely having some jealous feelings. I think she might even mention that the armor's almost ready, but I don't know that it's on this page. So then the last page here, page 8, Mipha finished the armor, and she actually talks about an ancient Zora princess who fell in love with a Hylian, which is like a straight up another reference to the sage princess Ruto, right? And so as she's talking about this, she's like, I'm gonna, like, Link is coming back here soon. This will be my chance to give him the armor. And it doesn't mention like the trip up to like the Spring of Wisdom or anything. So I think this actually happened before the calamity, that he was going to be making this trip and that they were going to have some time, which leads me to believe that Mipha did propose to Link. Like, she actually went through with this, and we haven't heard the results of it. Like, we haven't seen how that went down, like what Link said, what they did, any of that. But she does say that she finished the armor. She's like, he's going to be here. Here's my chance. And then she basically asks the ancient the ancient Zora princess for strength in this endeavor. So yeah.
And she definitely doesn't have Ruto's attitude.
No, not at all. She's actually, I mean, like, she definitely seems very meek whenever she's around the other champions, but when you see her training Sidon, she's very much like stern and dutiful, like very much like, here's the most important thing. It seems like whenever the Zora people or like the sake of others is involved, she's actually very confident and very forward. It's just like whenever that's not the case, she's very much soft and high pitched and like, puts herself in the background more so.
Ruto's like a very, at least from her stature, is like a very young Zora. And if it's not even like the same species of Zora or whatever, but you could kind of go on to say, like, I think Mipha's like almost 100 or something close to it. Like, she's past 50, given her stature and size and like height compared to like the other Zoras. So
We lost Cam for a second.
Oh
no, it's
so yeah, like that's kind of showing to her dutifulness, being 100 almost. She's kind of more been around the block a little bit and knows how to retain herself. And what's going on over there?
I don't know.
Every time you mention that she's over 100, I gotta do like oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Oh,
I mean, we don't know that she's over 100, do we?
There's something somewhere that says she's up there, because it was like someone, we don't know for sure, but I think it's either an Age of Calamity or someone did a measurement that said like these Zoras versus this age versus this height versus the way they look with the ears and like the little things on their face and like how their like face stretches as they get older. She's about like 75 to 100 at that point, because when Sidon grows up, he's 100, but he looks like he's like 20. So that's kind of where Mipha is at.
This is definitely like Elven princess falls in love with Strider the rogue, right? I mean, this isn't.
Yeah.
The age is going to be a very confusing thing if you focus on it too much. Like, don't.
I'm just saying, like,
stare at the picture too long, my guy.
She's dutiful, so she's been around the block versus Ruto, who we never got to see grow up to be a dutiful princess. She was probably like, what, 30, 40, maybe less, if we're taking Zora age.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely was. I mean, all of the royal family cared deeply about her. I mean, like, at least the council did anyway. You could tell because they all threw a fit when they found out she was going to pilot a divine beast. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how many princessly duties she was taking on aside from being the healer.
She's wicked with a spear. She probably trains.
Yeah.
The military. In fact, I think they actually said that, like, somewhere that she used to train some of the Zoras.
In combat or in healing?
In combat.
Well, I guess they wouldn't really all have healing, would they? I think that was just
No.
her thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the story is interesting from like just I mean of all the relationships that people love to try to throw on Link in all the games and all the past ages, like this is almost like the most outright, like somebody straight up proposed to him. But I mean, I guess if you want to count Kid Rudo from Ocarina of Time, I mean she did like a backhanded, underhanded proposal in a way, but this one, it seems much more deliberate and much more like she knew Link his whole life, essentially. Though there were years where they didn't see each other from the story, she still met him several times and learned about his character, and like didn't even like, as far as I can tell, never went through like a conflict time of like, oh, I hate this guy. Why is he always around? It was just always like she was always curious and always learned something new about him that she appreciated more, to the point where she actually proposed to him. I've heard theories. I mean, obviously, that's all you can do at this point is like, did she propose? What was the answer? How did that play out? Were they going to wait until after the war to get married? You know, like, or did he say, no, you're a fish? You know, like, who knows? I don't know. But, you know, most people see Mipha as Link's first, like, relationship. And I think that it comes from some of the looks that they give each other in cutscenes, like actually, like right before the calamity hits, when she's having that thought of like, oh, you know, what helps me use my powers is when I think of ... And I don't think she would have said that had Link said no. You know, like I think she might have even been like kind of towing that line of saying like, when I think about the person, like she probably wouldn't have said that I'm engaged to, but she might have said like that I care deeply about, or that I'm in love with, or whatever. Who knows? But that's my thoughts on it. It just seems like there was definitely like a positive outcome to that proposal, one way or another. Because I, you know, it just, that's the way it reads to me. So it seems like they had a thing going on before the calamity went and took it all away. And I think that this journal shows you a lot about who Mipha is and what her priorities actually are in life. So, honestly, my favorite diary to read, like of the 4 that I've read, it's probably the most interesting one. I think Urbosa is like right there too, but Rivali just makes me angry. And I feel like they could have done more with Daruk. I think he's just super shallow and just wants to talk about food. Yeah. So, yeah. If you have any idea how I feel about these champions.
What's Agoron's favorite genre of music? Rock and roll.
Nobody was surprised by that.
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
Okay, your joke is broken.
Oh, it fits.
If it's it's the only one that fits though.
I'm leaving.
Okay. So then, now that we've gotten all of the songs and all of the memories and we've done all of the champions things, we can do the final dungeon of the game. Well, not really of the game. The final dungeon of the DLC. We'll do the final of the dungeon of the game next episode. So the final dungeon of the DLC is a masterpiece. Enough said. Let's move on.
Oh.
No, it's basically a giant machine. Like there's four main arms that come off of one central fuselage, if you want to call it that. big old cylinder with a bunch of cylinders coming off of it. And everything is spinning except for the main section, I believe. And in each of these sections, you get basically the key or the way to open the next one. But you get, I think there's like terminals in each one, kind of like a Divine Beast. And they're themed. One of them is filled with lava and has like a spike bridge that you got to kind of traverse. One of them has like some key locking mechanisms to kind of get the whole thing to spin in different ways. One of them has a big old wind turbine that you got to change the directions of a few times. And one of them you flood with water and then drain the water back out. And it's a thing. So they're all like elementally based. The only one that I thought was weird is that the key locking one didn't seem to have a lot of electricity, at least from what I remember. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I would have expected lightning to be one of these things, and I don't remember seeing that, but maybe I'm just misremembering.
One of the rooms had one of like the green arrows that carries the flow of electricity through it. So
okay.
I don't know if that was probably the one that is supposed to be related to electricity. Yeah, not really a whole lot that it does aside from power like one main spinning unit.
Gotcha. Yeah. It was cool though. I mean, like each one you go into, you get a terminal, you come back out, and then there's like some other new boss waiting for you in the middle of the room, usually Guardian based, Sheikah technology, that kind of thing. But I had a lot of fun in here. It's the first time I've ever gotten this far in the DLC, first time I ever did this dungeon. I don't know if I would find it as fun the second time, but the first time, because it was novel, I had a blast. It was good stuff. I don't know. I don't know that I remember seeing anything that made me like that was enlightening to the story of the game. But it was a very good example of what a dungeon could be in the next game. It's one of those situations where you kind of feel like, no, you disagree.
I hope not.
It wasn't long enough to be a dungeon. I hope that there's many more rooms and many more puzzles and big old.
Everybody, that statement that I just made is what most people say about Hyrule Castle. About like that being what a dungeon could be in the next game. I don't know if we're gonna get that lucky. I really hope so. but like I think of all the divine beasts, like the 4 different divine beasts we talked about, like which ones of those was our favorite and everything. I think this one was top tier divine beast. I think it's about as good as far as you could throw a divine beast and like still have something that's interesting.
It was.
I'll tell you one thing. Divine beast aside or not, we get to fight what I call is the final boss fight of the game for me, because this boss fight is ridiculously cool versus the boss fight at the end of the game for me. But I digress. It's not, sadly, but it's still really fun.
Yeah. So this is Mos Koshaya.
Gesundheit.
Exactly. Mos Koshaya fights like Koga a little bit.
It's what Koga wants to be.
Yeah, Koga wishes he had all these moves, but he does have a couple of them. No, it's just when you first start fighting him, like there's a lot of Koga DNA there, which is funny because the whatchamacallums, the Yiga, were an offshoot of the Sheikah, and that's what this is Sheikah Sage. And he's a much better boss fight. He has way better moves overall. It's just interesting to see how many they do share when you first start the round.
He's not comic relief.
He's not comic relief. He's actually pretty intimidating when he first starts to move, and you're like, oh snap, these things can move. Not only can they move, but they can they can throw down. they can bring to smoke. This guy.
You say that again.
He's got like Thunderblight Ganon speed, which I thought was kind of annoying, but also kind of cool when you landed it right.
He actually learned from Naruto too. Mm-hmm. He took some training lessons. He's got Shadow Clone Jutsu.
He's got the Shadow Clones. He's got expansion Jutsu, man. He can do everything. Yeah. He gets real big. I thought that was kind of funny actually when he came out and he was huge, and I was like, hey, you big guy.
and he shoots a massive guardian laser at you. Like, huh? Excuse me?
Yeah, he's got. I'm honestly, I can't even recount all the moves, but you fight this guy on a giant floating platform arena above Hyrule, and it's just like battle starts out. He looks like any one of the other sages that you would find in one of the shrines, except he starts creaking. He's like, "I got one more challenge for you," and then he starts like creaking into movement and becomes this epic boss. Yeah. Fantastic fight. Fantastic boss fight. Had a lot of fun with this one. I don't know. It's cool. It's cool stuff. Flying Island made me think of Tears of the Kingdom immediately. When I got up there, I was like, oh, maybe we come back here. Maybe this platform's still here.
Oh, man.
Probably won't be fighting Moskashaya again, but maybe something else will be up here now. Maybe this Rakoga comes back.
Oh no.
We find him underground. He comes back up to the surface with us, chases us all the way to this platform.
I hope we see him again.
We are definitely going to see him underground for sure. You're going to be able to go down underground and find him there, and he's either going to be a boss fight or he's going to be like, bro, I need help. I need to get out of here.
I think it would be
mended my ways.
I think it would be hilarious to find him, but instead of leading the Yiga, he's leading like a Bokoblin camp or something. Like they're just like worshiping him randomly. Like I don't know. He's just made a new underground life for himself with whatever followers he could find. I think that'd be hilarious.
He just dances.
Does his nightly ceremonies with the bananas in the square.
Oh jeez. So many bananas.
Turns out Bokoblins love him. They can't get enough of these yellow fruits.
They get so strong.
Oh gosh. All right. But that is whew. I mean that is the main challenge of the DLC. There's just one thing left to talk about, and that's going back to Cass after all this is said and done.
My second favorite Rito.
Cassie boy.
Cassie boy. Well, I mean, I guess we talk about the Master Cycle 0 if you really wanted to.
Motorcycle, heck yeah. Summon it from your tablet of power.
Yeah, so after Link does all of the challenges from all of the other champions, he gets his own Divine Beast. He had to do 5 times the work of all of the other champions to get a motorcycle, which is shaped like a horse, but with wheels.
And then it can go up cliffs.
It can go up cliffs. It can bounce on Bokoblins. It can eat monster parts and use them for fuel.
It does it all.
It does it all. I did use it in my final ascent up Hyrule Castle, but only on a couple spots where it made sense to do that. I did not use it for the final battle, though.
I would love to see like an action sequence with that music, like and like Link's just rolling in, like dodging guardian lasers, going down the main street of Courtyard Hyrule Castle Town, just rolling past it through the gates.
Was that the Team America theme song? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry. Just checking. Hey, y'all, if you want a family-friendly podcast experience, don't look up that song.
No. That's why I didn't name it. I just went dun, 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 dun. And just have Link like dodging guardian lasers going up and just I want to see that movie.
So aside from this super cool motorcycle that we get that completely breaks mobility in this game, goes faster than the game can load in areas for whatever reason. There is also a return to Cass. I mean, I kind of just briefly mentioned this before, but there's one last memory that we can kind of watch, and it's a memory of the actual inauguration. So Cass gives you the champion's ballad, right? The champion's song that we've been working at this whole time. It's a song to capture you as a champion, and all the champions, I guess, because it transports you to a time. It brings back Link's memory of the inauguration because Cass just nails it on the head so well that he's able to bring back your memories. And in this inauguration, starts off and the king's giving this whole speech. Like you're in the court, right? Like all the knights and all the people of Hyrule are like around this court. King's up on like the second floor giving this grand speech about how you guys have been chosen as these epic champions and you're going to go forth and save Hyrule. And then he goes into how the blue that you're all wearing is symbolic of the royal family. And that your outfits have been designed by his daughter, Princess Zelda. And he's so proud of his daughter's, design work, I guess. Fashion design.
Nice.
This is actually part of the inspiration, not this scene specifically, but that blue and the connection to the Silent Princess flower, which is also like Zelda's blue. It's like where it comes from. The artwork for our podcast this season and the blue that Kim is currently wearing and pointing out are all interlinked. But it's funny because there are 5 blue and white petals on a Silent Princess flower, and it just seemed to match up perfectly with the 5 blue sashes that the champions were all given. I don't know. I feel like there's some cultural relevance to that, like flowers being used in storytelling in Japanese culture. I don't know enough about it to speak intelligibly about it, but I feel like there's enough there to say, hey, this was probably intentional. This was probably on purpose. Like the 5 petals, the 5 champions, the blue connecting everything, representative of the royal family, and they are the new found family of the royal princess, and all that nonsense. But yeah, so they go through this ceremony, and then later you see all the champions outside after the ceremony, having a little decompress sesh, right? Daruk starts off by saying, "Oh man, these formal gigs always tire me out." And then you see Rivali standing with like Zelda and Urbosa, and they're he picks up the Sheikah slate. He's like, "Oh, so this is the Sheikah slate, huh?" And Zelda's like, "Yeah, but we haven't quite figured it out yet." Like it can do more than we think. Urbosa's like, "Yeah, I heard it can take real to life photos or images, right?" Because ain't nobody heard of a digital camera. This is like Renaissance era stuff. Like it's like seriously modern tech, bro. So so this is where Mipha's request from her diary comes in, because she requests to have a picture taken with all of the champions. And Zelda's like, "Yeah, we could totally do that." And I'm pretty sure they have what's her name from the tech lab, the Hiteno tech lab, Pura. I think they have her take the picture. But yeah, they're all together, and so this is the first thing that Mipha was super grateful for in her journal entry on page 7 was that Zelda agreed to the request, and then the second thing that she is grateful for is that Daruk brought them closer together, and so this is like where the picture comes into play, where Pura has some notes for the group. She asks Daruna to crouch down because he's as tall as Death Mountain. She asks Zelda why she's so glum and tells her to smile. She tells Rivali to get his tail closer to the group because, of course, he's standing off to the side being Rivali. And then, interestingly enough, she has no notes for Urbosa or Link. Apparently, they were fine and great just where they were.
Photogenic.
I thought that was funny.
Urbosa's very photogenic.
Yeah, and she's like
the
looking
end result.
Super serious at first.
Yeah,
like she's looking like tough, like you'd expect her to be, because she's like warrior princess, right? But then Daruk does this thing, right, where he grabs the whole group and shoves them all together, and of course, like Zelda, Link, and Mipha are all standing side by side, so the 3 of them just get like totally smushed into one space.
You skip my favorite part.
What's that?
So like Mipha's standing very far off to the side of Link.
Oh,
like
yeah.
how Rivali was. And
the one note that I forgot to mention. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and she's like, Mipha, can you get closer to Link? And then you see her kind of like, she's got her arms like this, and she like looks over at Link, and she like looks down, and she's like, and she just like does this like little penguin scoot.
She does a little shuffle, yeah.
Tries to like get closer, but then like she still is standing like a couple feet away from him when she like stops, and she's like looks over, and it's like,
I think interestingly, I don't think Pyrrha actually tells her to get closer, but she does ask her why she looks so nervous. She's like, Mipha, you look so tense.
Oh yeah,
deep breaths,
take some
okay?
deep breath.
And then Mipha's like, yeah, I'll take some deep breaths. And then she like puts her hands on her chest and is like trying to like calm herself down as she's like scooting closer to Link. And then Daruk like, shoves them all together. So in the end result of this, which I find hilarious, Daruk's got this big mischievous grin, like he knows what he's doing. He's like, I'm totally pranking this whole group right now. Urbosa is amused by this. Like she didn't even move. Like she didn't get shoved at all by this move from Daruk, and she suddenly has like this smirk on her face that she did not have before. like she thinks this is hilarious, and also she's unaffected entirely.
She's like in the picture, aside from Daruk, who's like big smile in the back.
Yeah,
she's the only one still photogenic, like looking like she was ready for the. She's like, everyone else was like, oh
yeah,
being smashed together by Daruk.
Yeah, Link, Zelda, and Mipha all look surprised, uncomfortable. They're all like, oh, what happened?
Rivali looks like he's throwing up.
Rivali looks mad. Rivali looks like he's completely ticked off by this move.
I don't know. To me, he looks like he's like ready to like throw up. He's like,
yeah, his mouth is wide open. I feel like I see anger in his eyes. Like, how could you do this?
I think that's just how you perceive him.
Well, maybe, but I think it's funny either way. But yeah. So, Cass actually has this picture when you get back out of this cutscene, and he gifts it to Link, and it goes into your inventory. I'm pretty sure you can click on it and look at it whenever you want now. So there you go, one more reward for this DLC. And so yeah, it plays right back into Mipha's story the most somehow. Like everybody talked about the inauguration in their notes. But none of them as cryptic or as like play by play as Mipha's, where she was like here's my side of the story. We took this picture. Daruk shoved me right into Link. It was great. Like some nonsense.
I think this YouTube comment I read, it was the top YouTube comment for that video. It kind of explains it all. It said, the way that Mipha scooted closer to Link in the picture gives me the life to keep going.
Okay. It's adorbs. The relationship is adorbs. But yeah, guys, we made it. That's the end. That's the end of the DLC.
Cut.
Oh my goodness. That's a lot. I feel like I did a lot of talking there, but I was trying to get us through it. trying to carry this podcast on my back through the trenches.
Now we got a motorcycle.
And now we have a motorcycle. And not much left to do with that motorcycle.
True.
But we have it. And it's time to slay the pig, man.
Put some skid marks on Ganon's face before we kill him.
Everything okay there? Giggles?
Yeah, I was just slow hissing, laughing of Cameron's comment.
Gotcha. Cool. Are you guys cool if I wrap this guy up, or you got any other comments about this DLC that you'd like to share? I mean, I'll put a bow on it.
Get it wrapped up.
Yeah, I'm good.
Send it out.
All right, cool. All right, well, this has been our episode of A for No, B for Yes. We have finally finished up the DLC, the Champion's Ballad. Next episode, we will be completing the game. So be on the lookout for that 2 weeks from whenever this releases, probably. And then we will be moving on towards our next season. So the next episode after that will be our in-between. But for now, we are finishing up this season. So y'all, if you want to reach out to us, if you have any comments, you have any thoughts on who your favorite champion is, who your favorite story from the hero song is, or from the Champion's Ballad is, go ahead and reach out to us at our, off our website or at our, Gmail, our Twitter, our Instagram, any of those places. I am active on all of those platforms. So yeah, just let me know. But y'all, I'll catch you next time on the next episode. Until then, this has been A for No, B for Yes.
Rivali's the best champion.
Rivali is not the best champion.
Igor, why do you tell untruths?
Did you get all that? But we're not here to talk about Siegfried and Roy. We're here to talk about Zelda. Are you guys ready to talk about
Sigmund Freud? Wait,
Zelda?
No, not Link.
Are you
though.
here with us?
Not Link at all. Just Zelda.
No, Link has nothing to do with this, man. It's not his legend.
No, it's not. He's not even involved. He's sitting at home playing video games.
The Legend of Zelda series is a 30-year example of copy my homework. Zelda gets all the credit. Every game. Link did all the work. Zelda's like, oh, wow, Link, you must have gone to give me that trophy. Okay, I get the Triforce.
People are going to walk around with, you're on everyone's shirt, but everybody that's over the age of 40 is going to call you Zelda anyways because they don't know and they don't care. Just like how PlayStations and Xboxes are Nintendos. I mean, not anymore. That's kind of a dated joke, but
Yeah. My parents used to call everything a PlayStation.
Oh, really? That's unusual. Usually all the parents call everything Nintendos.
I think the going thing is to just pick one and only remember the name of that one.
But they never picked Xbox.
All game systems were always just the one thing. I think it's because Xbox came a little bit later.
It wasn't as popular, too. It wasn't as mainstream until 360.
Yeah.
The Xbox had a rough start, if you guys remember.
I don't. Because I didn't know it existed.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the 360 and Halo 3, just and those two.
I was going to say, I remember the first Halo being pretty big. Maybe not like as big, but big enough to know. Like there was a reason Halo 3 was big, and it's because Halo was actually good in the first place.
It was good, but it wasn't like phenomenal. Halo 3 was the masterpiece.
Halo 3 had everything anyone ever wanted. We ever needed for a sleepover.
Yeah. It's like you want to build maps, you go build maps. You want to do multiplayer, go build multiplayer. You want to race, go race. You want
to I got 2 words for you. Gravity, hammer. We're going to put them together.
Gravity, hammer, and energy sword duels all night, baby.
Crank that speed up to 300% and just charge each other.
Energy and sword. That's the other one.
Gravity, hammer, jousting.
Oh no.
Oh jeez. I just remember Action Matt.
Yes, I actually brought up Action Matt yesterday when I was talking to Matt.
Action Matt was fantastic.
Or no, yeah, we were frisbee golfing. I'm like, Action Matt. You got a kick out of that.
The Legend of Action Matt, man. My dude would come rolling on the warthog.
I'm still bouncing.
Like just straight up Halo
He
jump
somehow
out of his
come in,
warthog,
like-
get one kill just by crashing his warthog onto somebody. And then while he was still in the air, he would rocket launch another dude. And he would land and stab a third dude. And he'd be like, where did you come from? He's like,
I just remember
the warthog would land behind him and he'd get back into it and keep driving.
I just remember like when that was all going on, we were on the desert map and there was some junk like in the middle of the map and I was on the lower end and I don't know where everyone else was, but like I'm just like looking up because like something popped up on the radar and I just see Matt and his warthog just like fly off the junk pile and I'm just looking up like it's the Lion King and the sun's rising and I'm like it was slow motion and like heavenly music is and I just see Matt like shoot a rocket launcher off and I'm like, what? How is this kid so cool?
Action Matt.
oh gosh.
Too cool for school.
He was really good in his warthog. All right, I just finished bouncing audio, so I am good to record.